Howdy, Travis from KnowHow here. Today we're going to tackle one of the most common problems in the construction and trades industry, which is how do you get your workers to actually retain the information you train them on? There is a ton to learn. There's a ton of different variables, from PPE to how to do specific cuts. Sometimes you're dealing with mold or water, and jamming everything into 48 hours worth of training in front of a laptop at the very start of a worker's tenure with your company is not going to work. You're going to feel like you delivered the training, but they are going to feel overwhelmed. But at the same time, just throwing them out onto a job site and saying, all right, just let Steve know if you've got any questions, doesn't work either. That worker feels like a dummy. They are constantly interrupting others. They can start to see that they're wearing down Steve and other people on their team. And eventually they just decide, you know what, I'm not going to bother Steve anymore. Maybe I'll Google it. Maybe I'll guess. It goes wrong. They feel even dumber. Eventually that worker quits. There's many reasons why there's such a retention problem in those industries, but one of the reasons is poor training. So today we're going to dive into the scale method for training your workers. This is the way that you can ensure that your staff both learn the fundamentals, the theory behind the work that you do. You don't just throw them out to a job site and say, hey, I hope it goes well. But at the same time, they're not just sitting and staring at a screen for hours on end, trying to remember all this information that's really presented in a way that doesn't resonate with how they learn. The scale method is the best of both worlds, and there are construction companies across North America that are using it to effectively train their staff. We're going to go through it all, and then at the end, I'm going to show you how companies are using KnowHow to effectively train their staff using the scale method. Let's dive into it. All right, the SCALE method is an acronym, SCALE, and that stands for study, confirm, apply, lead, and explain. Let's walk through all of these in detail. First, that S, study. This is the mandatory part that if you are doing work with any level of sophistication has to happen. You have to teach your staff not only the how, but the why. And so in the study phase, you review the content with them. Maybe this is sitting them down in front of LMS tool. Maybe it's using KnowHow. Maybe there's training classes. Now, there's ways that you can do this the right way and ways you can do it the wrong way. We're getting into that in a second. But the bottom line is that staff need to know the why behind what they do, not just the how. This study phase is super important. And when it comes to be able to solve problems creatively out on the job site, staff that have skipped this step, they just find themselves lost if things don't go exactly according to plan. When this study stage is done right, it's not a deluge of information. It's information that is given in a format that responds well to the worker on a device that they're used to using. Maybe these are short form videos. Maybe these include things like podcasts, short bouts of text. What's most important is that it's delivered in a way that responds well to how the learner likes to learn. But the important part is this: the why is just important as the how, and that's what workers learn in the study phase. Let's move on to the next phase, confirm. This is where you test memory retention. What this means is that in the study phase, all the information that you gave your worker, this is where you check to see how much did they retain. And so this could look like quizzes. This could look like you as a trainer walking through what just happened, asking them to explain to you what they learned. This could be long form written tests, although if your workforce doesn't all speak English, this could artificially make it seem like they understood the content less than they did. So be careful with how you're distributing these tests to make sure it works for, again, how those learners learn. But ultimately, what you're doing is you're trying to confirm competency. How much that we just learned has been retained. And I can tell you, 30-day drop-off rates for memory retention are bad. And so if your worker has not retained what they were taught hours ago, they have no chance of remembering it weeks or months later. So confirming competency, confirming what they learned at this stage is critical. Once you've done that, move on to the next stage, which is apply. In the application phase, a trainer is walking that worker through real life, what they just learned. So I've learned the theory and the science on how to remove moisture from drywall. Here's where I see it happen in front of me. The philosophy that I've learned, now I'm applying in real life. So I'm seeing my trainer actually remove moisture in this drywall right in front of me. They are narrating step by step what they're doing along the way. If you're using KnowHow, this is a perfect time to open up the KnowHow app and just look at step 1. Here's what we do. Step 2, step 3. You're confirming what the trainer has seen on paper or on a screen, but now they're seeing it in real life. It's being cemented in their mind. After that has been demonstrated by the trainer, now the roles are reversed in the lead stage. In the lead stage, the trainee is the one that's leading how to do the process or task. So now the trainee is demonstrating how to remove moisture from drywall. They're walking through step by step along the way exactly what needs to happen as if they were training the trainer. And so they have observed it and they're now doing it. The last stage is explain. Now the trainee, after they have completed that task, they re-explain it either to the trainer or someone else, ideally on the team. This is that classic learn one, do one, teach one that so many doctors and nurses are familiar with. This helps cement that knowledge in the learner's brain. They know the why, they've seen the how, they've done the how, and now they're explaining the how to someone else. This 5-step method ensures that workers don't just have a bunch of information that goes in one ear and out the other. At the same time, it ensures that they're not thrown on a job site without any fundamentals, any understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, and told to problem solve their way out of a situation. They don't even know why they're in it. The scale method is scientifically backed to ensure that knowledge is taught, experienced, and then explained and cemented in the mind of a worker. Now let's flip over to KnowHow, and we'll see how to apply the scale method in real life for your workforce. All right, so I'm here in KnowHow, and I'm going to take KnowHow's workflows functionality in order to create the training content that we're going to give our new hire, Travis. So remember the S, that's study. This is the fundamentals that we have to teach our staff. You can see here, I have this new hire water mitigation tech workflow that I've imported from KnowHow's template library, available to all KnowHow users. And this walks my new hire through all the different aspects of being water mitigation technician. Everything from how to understand the classes of respirators, Don and Doff respirators, clean respirators, that's day 1, dedicated to PPE. Day 2, understanding water losses. Day 3 or day 4, setting up dehumidifiers and equipment. Perfect. I can edit this as much as I want, but let's create this template here for Travis Martin, our new water mitigation technician. So I just dragged and dropped Travis over. I'm going to set a start date for Monday. And I'm going to click assign and edit. So what this is going to do is it's going to assign Travis this new water mitigation technician training so he can fulfill that study part of the scale method that's so important. But let me show you one other thing. So Travis is going to walk through this training content. It's going to walk through step by step. There's going to be videos. There's going to be images. Of course, I can customize this all as I see fit. But don't forget what C was. Remember, C stands for confirm. So let me show you how KnowHow confirms competency. Here you have a process called Don and Doff a respirator. And here is where you can add a skill builder. It is a short multiple choice or true false test that is designed to confirm competency. And it's written with the power of KnowHow's artificial intelligence, Howie. So the way it works is it's going to read all the text in the process, and then it's going to come up with good test questions based on that. So let's click that generate button, and it's going to write these test questions right before our eyes based on the content of that process. So it's created 10 test questions. I'll activate that skill check-in. And now, once Travis has completed this process in the study part of the scale method, it's going to move right on to the C, confirm. He's going to be tested on what he's learned. Let's confirm those details. So now it's been assigned to Travis, and Travis can go through this on desktop or on mobile. Let's go through it on desktop, and we'll see what that experience is like. So Travis is going to open up this process, how to don and doff a respirator. Click any of these, and it's going to explain step by step. Okay, first, step 1, inspect the respirator for signs of damage. Examine the following aspects of the respirator. Perfect. Step 2, attach appropriate filter cartridges. Videos can be attached, photos can be attached, documents can be attached. All very easy to give your worker the media that works best for their specific learning style. All right, so I've completed almost all of these. And once I mark all of these as complete, then we're going to test Travis's competency for the confirm stage of the scale method. Step 6. Here we go. Travis earns a little badge to make him feel good. And now this is the skill builder. Let's take it together. I'm going to be honest, I was talking to you the whole time, and so I wasn't reading this super closely, but that's the beauty of skill builder is if Travis wasn't paying attention, we're about to find out. Which part of the respirator should be checked for pliability and flatness? Let's say the valves and gas. That was close. It is recommended to have a clean-shaven face when donning a respirator. True. That's right. For all of you who can't grow facial hair, just like me, there you go. Facial hair can interfere with the seal of respirator. True. Yep, that's right. Okay, great. We're on a roll here. What should you do if you find damage on your respirator? Select a new respirator and tag the damaged one. I gotta admit, I'm actually thinking pretty deeply about all of these questions. I think it's this one, but I'm actually going to choose this one just to show you that if you're incorrect, then actually we see that reflected as well. And both me and my manager can see the results of this check-in. Once this entire workflow is complete, I can actually be given a summary check-in as well as a part of that confirmation stage that's going to pull questions from all the different processes that I went through in order to confirm, do I remember what I was taught in the hours or days when I worked through this workflow together. But let's move past this stage, and we're going to move on to the next super important stage, apply, where Travis is going to see this in person, and he's going to have his theory that he just learned grounded in real life. So we'll flip over to mobile, and I'll show you what that experience is like. All right, so you can see here, I'm on my mobile device, and I can go directly to my workflows here. This is this training workflow that I was given for how to become a new water mitigation technician. You can see here on this don and doff a respirator, I scored 80%. I always have the ability to retake that exam. So we're now officially in the apply stage. So in the apply stage, my trainer is going to pull open KnowHow either on my device or theirs, and they're going to walk through this don and doff a respirator. Again, not the theory, but in real life. So we're going to click that, and my trainer is going to have a respirator in front of them in one hand and KnowHow in the other. And we're just going to walk through this step by step. Again, inspect respirator for signs of damage. So my trainer is walking through and showing me how to inspect the respirator for signs of damage. Next up, how to attach appropriate filter cartridges. Same thing. He's going to show me how to attach those cartridges. Then he's going to show me how to don the respirator. He's going to show me how to perform leak checks and then remove it without touching the face. And so you can see it's very simple to make sure that employees are trained the correct way in the way that cements that knowledge long term. Finally, we'll go through step 6, clean and store the respirator. The trainer is going to show Travis how to do that. And then we're going to flip the script. We're going to do it all again, but this time Travis is going to explain how to inspect the respirator for signs of damage. And then he's going to explain how to attach the appropriate filter cartridges all the way down the line. Travis learned the fundamentals. He saw it. He did it. And then finally, that explain stage, Travis is going to explain to somebody else without the respirator how to do it to finally cement his knowledge once and for all. The scale method of training acknowledges that not every employee learns the same way. At the same time, especially in nuanced industries, you can't just send an employee out on a job site and tell them to hope for the best. A lot of traditional training tools fail because they sit an employee down and try to teach them all the fundamentals, but it is not built for long-term memory retention. The scale method teaches that theory, but then shows the employee in action how that theory is applied in real life. Whether you use KnowHow or you don't, the scale method will transform how you equip your staff to work competently and confidently out on the job site. For more information on how companies like yours are using KnowHow to better train and equip their staff, head to tryknowhow.com. Thanks.